welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Okay, let's do something I haven't done for the last couple of days. Let's just review my blood sugars. Current blood sugar is sitting at 14.3. I started off today, let's go this way, down at 5.2, and I shot up to 19.3, higher than I thought it was, and now I've come down to 14.3. Okay, my bolus was working all day. My correction started to correct, and because it was up at 19.3, my endocrinologist had suggested I do a shot, so I gave myself a shot, still showing that I'm high, of 7 units, which has brought me down to 14.3. So, just let me get my pump here and correct something that's come up. Okay, just set my pump back to say 14 results. Okay, I've corrected things, I'm doing everything. Okay, time and range, 85%, which is great. It's over 70, it's a nice, solid number. Today, we're above. At 15%, we could still bring that down a bit, but we're acceptable. Down here is average sugar in millimoles is sitting at 8.2. All in all, pretty good. Today, I want to do another story time. A fable. Well, it's not really a fable because it really happened. It's my life. So, if you've noticed, I finally got a barber to take care of my mustache, and it's nicely trimmed now. And so I look younger. It's amazing how much younger I look. Okay, let's get going with the story. Okay, this is going to be my first complication. I was in the period where I really didn't take care of my diabetes. I kind of knew that, and when speaking with doctors, I kind of said, oh yes, I'm doing everything right. Never brought blood sugar reports, but I was doing everything perfectly. I had been with an endo before who really didn't treat me as an adult. He treated me like a child, but I was early 20s, and I hadn't seen anyone for my eyes, hadn't seen anyone for my diabetes pure and proper. I went to the hospital. one time. I think it was an infection in my foot, or what we thought was an infection in the foot. And it was, as we have heard from prior stories, it was a complication called I can't say it. Seabot's foot, or Charcot, not Seabot, Charcot's foot, which is a condition where my nerves are shot in the leg. So they continue to turn on, and the blood keeps flowing to the bottom of my feet. And they pool, at which time the blood doesn't go back up the foot. So I was diagnosed with this. I was off work for 8 weeks, I believe. And I was on crutches. The worst thing. It was the absolutely worst. I think I had lows because I wasn't used to the extra exercise, but I had to hobble to work, and then they decided, why don't you just take time off? So the doctor agreed, and I got off work. But Charcot foot could be dangerous because it can malform your foot from walking on it. I got Charcot foot because I'd be walking, and later that night my foot hurt. And my sister had gone for walks before. Like, we used to have these walks called Miles for Millions. It's a few years ago. And I gave off at one point, and my sister continued, and she got a stress fracture. So my foot was kind of acting like that. And I thought, okay, I know what this is. It's a stress fracture. Well, the truth was, we thought I had a stress fracture. But it got infected, it got red, it got swollen. I went into the hospital. They put me on antibiotics because they thought diabetic with a foot infection. We'll start on antibiotics. I was in the hospital for 3 days on antibiotics. I had met my endocrinologist. I had met her because they came in and said, do you have someone to take care of your diabetes? I said, no. So she took over my case. I'm going to drop for a moment. I'll start going back up in a moment. It's the bad of me. Okay, so I was in the hospital under her care for 3 days. They had to move the ward they had to go upstairs to the top floor, Or was it top floor? Anyway, we had to move floors. So, we got up, and they moved, they discharged everyone, but I was one of the patients who stayed. And I got put into another room, and I stayed there for about 2 weeks because they couldn't control. And my foot would get redder and hotter. So the endocrinologist said, well, we should bring someone else in to take a look. So she sent my file over. I was discharged because the foot had settled down, important. And I went back to see her, and she said, there's a doctor here who thinks that you have a condition and you don't have stress fractures. It's called Charcot's foot. And like I explained earlier, it's the blood that the nerves don't control the blood going down to your legs because they've been damaged by diabetes. So there's no blood coming back out. So the nerves would just let the blood pool. The blood seeps into the bones, making them brittle. So in theory, I could break my foot for going for a walk. So it was stress fractures, but it was because of the blood. It wasn't a normal stress fracture. So in theory, I go for a walk out in the neighborhood, could break my foot. So I was off work for about 8 weeks, as I said, put on crutches, and then they said, okay, your next step is you're going to need to be put into an air cast. Okay, so I got an air cast through work, or the insurance through work paid for an air cast. Once I got into an air cast, I was able to return to work. The first day I got the air cast, I had to fly from Vancouver up to Powell River by a small little airplane, but I had to wear this air cast. And this air cast was a big clunky thing. I spent 8 hours a day on that air. I had to do training classes up there. And my foot has since settled down. I've had 1 or 2 other flare-ups, but since the nerves really haven't allowed me to walk as much, I've been put in chairs, so I'm not on the foot. If I was on the foot more, I would probably have more occurrence. Charcot's foot is a complication of diabetes. So beware and take care. With that, have a great day. If you feel tingling in your foot, get it checked out. Have a great day. Bye now. My email address is mikesdiabetesworld at gmail.com. All one line. Drop me